pump itself, and it is also gear driven. Okay, that's all you want to tell them. Again, I'm looking at my air lines coming off my air compressor. There's abrasions, bulges, and cuts. And again, I do not hear any audible leaks coming out of any of them either. Right here, this is my dipstick. I pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it back out. If it is below the fill line, I'd add 1 gallon of oil to my engine compartment right there, and that's my engine oil fill tube right there. This engine oil fill tube is held on with a safety chain. Keeps that cap from coming off. It does come off, it'll stay with the engine. You won't lose it, and all the oil will blow out of your motor. This right here is my steering column itself. I want to make sure it's not bent, damaged, or broken, that it does not have no more than 2 inches of play or 10% in a 20-inch steering wheel. Right here, this is my power steering reservoir. Again, my reservoir is clear in color. It's at operational level, and I do not see any visual leaks coming out of it. It's my power steering hose right here. That's what feeds the fluid to my power steering gearbox. Main thing I'm looking for is abrasions, bulges, or cuts. Both my clamps are present. I do not see any leaks coming out of it. This right here is my steering gearbox itself. All my bolts are present. It also appears to be properly mounted and secure, and I do not see any visual leaks coming out of it. Also, I'm gonna look at my frame rail. If you guys look, you see these shiny spots on this truck and motor? See all this shiny shit? These things you're gonna talk about, because that's things we've been touching. Why you put your hands on this thing? Get your hands dirty. Main thing I'm looking at my frame rail, I wanna make sure it's not cracked, damaged, or broken. It has any legal holes or any legal welds in it. Coming off my steering gearbox right here, that's called a pitman arm. A pitman arm is not bent, damaged, or broken. Right below my pitman arm, this is my drag link right here. It has its manufactured bend in it, and my drag link is held on both ends with castle nuts and garter keys. That castle nut, if you take this nut off right here and stood it up, stand it up, it looks like top of the castle. That's why they call it. Okay? Simple as that. Back on the back side again, I'm looking at my shock absorbers. I do not see any oil coming out of them. That'd be an indication my shock absorbers are bad. Right here are my leaf springs, hangers, and my leaf springs themselves. What I'm looking at is make sure all my bolts are present. None of my leaf springs are cracked, damaged, have shifted, or any shiny spots on them. It'd be indicator they're going bad, something's happened. U-bolts right here. Those were two U-bolts right there is what holds my leaf springs onto the front axle of my tractor. Alright, come back to my brake system. Main thing I'm looking right here, this is my air supply line that feeds my brake chamber, and this is my ABS line, anti-brake lock brake system. I want to make sure the brake line itself, the ABS line, is not ripped, torn, or frayed. I want to make sure this brake hose itself here has no abrasions, bulges, or cuts in it, and there's not any air leak coming out of it. So my brake chamber itself, making sure the brake chamber is not bent or broken, and it also appears to be properly mounted and secure. And again, I do not hear any audible leaks coming out of it. Right here, this is my slack adjuster and my push rod right there. They're held on by clevis pins and clevis keys. The way I check this, I apply my brake under my dash of my truck, and reach in and grab that push rod. If I pulled it out more than 1 inch, these brakes are out of adjustment. Coming inside my brake system itself, I'm looking at my brake shoes themselves. What I want to see is I want to make sure that I have at least 1/4 of an inch of brake pads on my brake shoes themselves, and that there's no oil or grease around them. The brake drum itself, I'm looking at it, make sure it's not excessively worn, it's not cracked, damaged, or broken. And again, that it doesn't have any oil or grease on it. My inside rim on my tire, I want to make sure it's not bent, damaged, or broken. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking at this bead around the tire and the rim itself. I want to make sure that bead itself is not bent or broken, and the tire itself is not ripped, torn, or frayed anywhere around it, and there's not any wire sticking on the inside wall. Top of my tire, I'm looking at it, I want to make sure that it's wearing evenly all the way around, from side to side, and that there is more than 4/32 of tread depth on it. I come to the outside of the tire and I tell you the same thing again. I'm looking for abrasion, bulges, or cuts on the sidewall. Wish somebody's coming along and curb this thing. What you're looking for, because if it does, possible blowout. Again, I'm looking around this bead and where it seats on that tire itself. Again, I do not want to see this rim bend anywhere around here. Possible chance for air coming out of that tire. I'm looking again at my rim itself. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken. I have 10 lug nuts and lug nut spacers on my front wheel. I want to make sure they're all properly mounted and secure. They're all present, and there's no shiny spots or rust trails coming off of them. Shiny spot, rust trail is an indication of the looseness. All right? Right here is my front hub seal itself. Making sure the plate that holds my hub seal on, all the bolts are present. I do not see any oil coming out from around that seal. If I had to check this front hub seal, I'd pull that rubber plug out, stick my finger in. If it came out dry, I'd add oil. Where I'd add oil would be right there. Okay? The last thing I'm going to be looking for on this front right here is my metal valve stem and my metal valve stem cap. That's where I check my air pressure on my tire. If needed so be, I bring up to manufacturer specification. That's A right there, guys.